I have had a week, but I've had this very clear conviction by honestly being like squeezed out of any other alternative, that the only way forward is just fully sharing what's on my heart and my mind, and sharing with you and sharing with other people. My team or not, my clients or not, strangers, friends, what this journey is going to look like after finding out a week ago today that the business that we've built for the last 13 years will be gone, is slowly, actually quickly crumbling. And we feel like this, I mean, it's a devastating loss, but compared to so many other unredeemable situations like death and loss and bigger versions of grief. I don't mean to minimize the loss of any of the Beachbody coaches, body partners who have lost their livelihood like we have, because we feel like we are free falling and we will be okay. And land on our feet, and I'm speaking for myself, Rob and I, just very deeply humbled with a lot of regret in how we could have managed things or seen things or, prepared better. And at the same time, so grateful for the tools and the lessons that we've learned over the last decade. If you know anything about me, if you've followed me at all over the last almost 15 years that I've been on Instagram, you know how much I feel and how deeply I feel. And while I was a fitness coach and a business mentor, if you were on my team, if you had conversations with me, what mattered most to us was relationship and life and the real stuff. Because for me, when I gained 50 pounds and then lost them with Beachbody, it was because I was dealing with emotions I couldn't process and feel and work through. Life was heavy on me at that time, and I learned the tools of how to move through those emotions and move forward one step at a time, one best decision, next right decision at a time. That was what attracted us most to this company, was transformation. It was doing life together. It was doing something hard together. It was celebrating with people. It was seeing the potential in them. It was reminding them of who they are, and maybe what's happening on the outside is not indicative of the potential that is deep inside them. And then, there were so many great things and there were so many bad things about the whole journey and about all of this. So I could talk about this forever. I will talk about this forever. I'm sort of declaring my intentions of where I'm at. We're making some radical changes in life right now, and we haven't been eating, we haven't been sleeping. We've been sharing panic attacks on and off. We've been moving through grief. We've been trying to support as many people as we can in those transitions of losing their income as well. We have been leaning into our church. We have been leaning into routine. We have been forced to live moment by moment, and I have realized what an immense privilege it has been for the last 10 years to have built passive income and have known that sort of certainty and that financial security. And I was telling my friend this the other day, because we were talking about legacy and we were talking about what's next and what am I going to do and what am I going to build, because I'm not done. I had a few people and a few situations speak over me like, oh, this is just the first part. This is just the gathering of information. This is just the honing and the refining of who you are. And then now you are going to do your life's work. This was just one chapter. And I believe that, even though I feel like I am being sucked into this gauntlet of putting the tools that I've learned and taught over the last few years to actual use in this new before. this is my opportunity to use the tools that I'm going to help other people with. How to process emotion, how to set goals, how to get organized, how to set a vision, how to build a business plan, how to take what currently is in this moment and identify what are the next steps? How do I take those steps? How do I build a life that can sustain a routine that compounds into the kind of marriage or the kind of finances or the kind of recovery or the kind of emotional and mental health or environment or contribution into society? How do we take what is and set a goal and then build something that's simple and sustainable that can turn into the version of you, the level of confidence, the actual results that we're looking for and dreaming for ourselves and for the world around us? Because I live in North Carolina, so right now I'm seeing firsthand, or a few hours away, but firsthand in my community so deeply, the impacts of what's going on with the hurricane recovery in Asheville, and a community coming together, and people who have lost everything, all of these needs popping up, all of this the human experience. I know I've been called to become a life coach. And one of the things that's so funny, I know I've been called to be a leader. I know I've been called to bear my mess and my messy middle authentically, so that other people can see themselves in that too, and we can walk together and we don't have to feel isolated and alone, and we can sharpen each other and we can learn and we can offer hope. That's how I built my business. It wasn't an Instagram ads or, anything special about me. It was the humanity and just sharing the path of progress that I was on and offering an invitation to come walk with me. So I'm putting this all into perspective. I need to show up here for me as honestly as I can, as authentically as I can, and just spill. And just invite you to come with me and watch me as I gather the tools to build a life again and a purpose again and a level of contribution again. We just sold 2 of our cars in the last week. We just sold another Rob's dream car, which again, there is so much grief in letting go of that. And it's also such a privilege. With the internet, I know it gets a little crazy because you can't say everything to everyone and do it right. It's honestly one of the reasons why I haven't felt excited to be on social media over the last few years is you just cannot get it right. There's always a DM in your inbox telling you how awful you are, or how you said something wrong, or you didn't consider something. And so I'm choosing to just move through that and build the strength and the tools and the skills to get through that as well. But we're selling off our assets and getting ourselves to a place of financial peace and stability, which is another thing that I'm absolutely going to share more about. But the man in the financing office, he was talking about, he moved through stage 4 cancer. He has sold and bought a bunch of cars. They're just things. And the reason he moved to this town from New York was because he lost his son in a hit and run accident. I was just sitting there in front of him, both honoring what is real, are the traumas and the emotions that we feel and we experience. They're physical, they're in our body. Those emotions that get here, we can't ignore them, we can't suppress them. That's what becomes trauma, that's what becomes disease, that's what becomes unhealthy things. So 2 things are true. We are moving through this and we are feeling this panic and this grief and this letdown and this anger and this sadness and this, all of it. And I so clearly see how lucky we are. And both are true. And I'm just seeing it's carving out this just even deeper empathy in my heart for what so many people are going through, and just deepening this mission that I have to leave an impact on on the world and be as courageous as I can to model to my kids what that looks like, to be the best partner I can be to my husband, to leave my community a better place. What I'm bringing to social media going forward, it's not about the followers, man. I can't, just thinking about building a business like focused on reach or views, like I'll work anywhere else. I don't chase that. I can't do that. That's not it. I'm going to be showing up here, showing you what I'm doing, what my routine looks like to stay normal, to process this emotion and to build something new and to build a life coaching business, so that I can serve people through things like this, because I wouldn't have hope if it wasn't for my faith and for my church, a faith that I have fallen so far away from. I've likened it to being in the ocean and letting the tide just sort of pull you, right? Because it's like I had so much certainty in everything outside of God. It was in my strength and in my hands and in my control. If it wasn't for small steps forward, like knowing the power of compounding interest in our actions and our intentions. I've seen that firsthand in losing weight and building a business and building a following and building financial success. Like, it is step by step, and together, step by step, we can build anything with those tools. If it wasn't for the emotional tools that I have, that I swim in it. I swim in personal growth and therapy and psychology work. It's so powerful. It's so encouraging to see how prevalent talking about emotional and mental health is in our world today. And we need it. Like, we need mental health care and support more than ever, not only for this generation, but for upcoming generations who live here on the internet and in this world. And then daily routine. Like, I've heard people say, especially when navigating loss and grief, like, grief is a clarifying agent. What is reality needs to be accepted. And then the next step is to say to yourself, how do I take care of me, and how do I take care of my most immediate need? And how do I prioritize those things? And that takes a rock solid daily routine to live day by day until you get out of that space.
Was never